And good morning. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor. I am all stuffed up. I tell you that I don't know what's in the air, but it has me stuffed up. It might be the smoke from the fires and everything else. You know, Los Angeles, we get everything here. So I didn't want to really do this podcast, but I have to do it because it's on my chest. We just had a political debate between Biden and Trump. And we really saw, and I think that Americans really saw, an individual that probably should never have been put into that office, should never have been in the presidential role. We saw an individual where his mental faculties are gone, where they're fading fast. His physical ability is almost gone. If you saw his wife had to lead him down one step because he was unsure of himself. Staring off into space, not really there at that time. He could not even make a good argument for his policies. It was a sad situation to watch, but I think it was good to watch only because it showed Americans, okay, this is what the Democrats put in office. They were so more concerned about losing their power and gaining more power through the presidency that they did not put America first. They did not put an individual that was sound of mind, sound of body, in a situation where they are putting an individual in the spot of presidency. Instead, what did they do? They put this man into the presidency, and then everybody around him has been running the country, which I think is really a constitutional issue, and it is really a national security issue. That's why we hire presidents, to be able to lead, to be able to make decisions for the nation. And I'm going to tell you right now, he has not made one decision for this nation. But the individuals around him have been running this country. And then the other issue is for Jill Biden to allow them to use her husband, who has the signs and the effects of dementia, and who has physical problems of falling and walking down even simple steps. For her to put him in that situation, that is really elder abuse. So we have three things that we're watching as Americans. We're watching elder abuse, we're watching a constitutionality issue, and we are looking at a national security issue, where we really do not have a president in charge. Instead, we have a bunch of people that have been hired by his advisors, and they're the ones making the decisions. They're the ones making the policy. And the Democrats led us on. And they built this man up. They oversold an individual that could not do the job. Even if you look at what President Biden is putting forward for judgeships, they can't even ask what the Second Amendment is. They cannot tell you what it is. They can't tell you what the Declaration of Independence says. I mean, they just cannot answer that. And that's who he is putting forward as judges. Very liberal judges. Very socialistic judges. But when they cannot answer the question about the Constitution, how do you expect them to make good decisions in legal cases if they don't know the Constitution? Because the Constitution is what drives this United States. So here we saw on Thursday night an individual that is not able to lead a country or to make good decisions. Immediately after the debate was done, I flipped over to CNN. CNN got really hard on him and even said that he lost the debate within the first 3 minutes of the debate. And we saw them put him down, saying, we don't know whether or not he's cognizant. And then the very next day he goes out and campaigns, but his campaign is the same. And I saw comments on X from Democrats saying, oh, he's really doing good today. No, he's not doing good. He has a teleprompter. He's reading off the teleprompter. But he's not putting anything forward that's new for the American people. It's really the same that we heard in 20, where he talked about he is going to raise taxes. And he's saying it again. So we do not see anything positive from 2 days of him being out there in public. What we see is a feeble, old, senile, dementia individual. And it's not his fault. When you get old, that's what happens. It's not his fault. The fault lays at Jill Biden for allowing him to be used, allowing him to be abused. I'm just amazed at this whole thing. I'm just disgusted at it. Because I don't see a leader. Now, the constitutionality part of it is who is running the country. It's not the president. Who is stepping in and running the country? That is the constitutionality problem of this whole thing. And then on the national security, if you were to watch the foreign press, which I watched a good portion coming out of Abu Dhabi and coming out of London and coming out of Australia, a whole bunch of different countries I watched. They are literally laughing at us. There were 2 individuals on Australian TV that were just literally laughing at this president and laughing at the nation. Russia television came out and said, oh, this is like a pensioner show. So we have even Italy television are making fun of our president and of our nation. It's okay for us to do it, but not for other countries to do it. But it's happening. And it's ugly. When you see our enemies out there making fun of us, what is also going through their minds about what they can do to harm America? Our borders are open. We've had Pakistanis, we've had Palestinians, we have had Arabs, we have had Chinese. We have had people from Ukraine, we have people from Russia, all coming into the United States across our border with no problem whatsoever. That is a national security issue. We have a war going on in Ukraine where we're spending billions and billions of dollars on. We have a situation that's developing with China and Taiwan. We have Russian submarines and military ships in Cuba at the moment, off the coast of Florida. We have a war that's going on in Israel, and the president is playing both sides of the Palestinian and the Israeli situation. People are not quite sure how to read what our foreign policy is with the Middle East. We have a big problem. And it's been going on for 3.5 years. And the Democrats have played it up of how great this president is. And then when we come to a debate night, eyes were watching on the failure of a president not even able to speak, or to concentrate, or to focus, or to make clear statements of what his policies are. He was very good at putting people down and calling people names. But he had nothing to give to the American people. So my view on this whole thing on Thursday night was that it was a really big eye-opener for the media, the left media, and it was an eye-opening for the American people. I don't know how you're going to vote, and then I'm not going to tell you how to vote. That's not my job. I already know how I'm going to vote. But this makes us all kind of pause and say, we have been lied to. And that big lie has come from the Democratic Party. Because all that they wanted was power. And now they're scared they're going to lose that power. I'm not going to talk about Trump's problems with the Democrats. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. But I am going to talk, and this is what I've been talking about, is what I saw Thursday night. Now, people are asking for him to step down, but who's going to step in? Kamala Harris is hated by so many of the American people. She can't even speak. Her speeches are nonsense. So who's going to lead? Who is going to lead this country if she steps down? So it goes the president to the vice president, and the next one in line is the Speaker of the House. Will that happen? I don't know. But something must happen. Some changes have got to be made in order for this nation to be able to have a leader in the White House that can make common sense and rational decisions on behalf of the American people. We can no longer go forward with a non-president. A president who cannot make decisions on his own. A president who can hardly even walk on his own. And a president who can't even debate. I tell you, his debate was such a failure that the left-wing media just went after him. All night, they went after him. Everybody looked like they were scared. And they should have been scared, because what we have is a non-president. And we have a whole bunch of people in that big old White House that is running this country that are not constitutionally empowered to run the country. It's a big thing to think about, isn't it? It's scary. They are so focused on being socially acceptable with the trans community and the gay community and all of these other left-wing organizations out there that they have forgot about what the American people need. And it's not their political agenda, because their political agenda right now has nothing to do with the American people. Nothing. So we have this problem. What do we do about it? Well, we've got to start demanding that something be done about it. I am really surprised that we have such a bad situation right now in Washington, D.C. I am really surprised that the American people are not marching on Washington demanding changes. I'm really surprised at that. In every other country, everybody's out there demanding for changes, but here in America, we sit silent. But we have a choice here. We have a choice of either standing up and making our voices heard, or we can just go ahead and have no leader in the White House that can't do anything for the American people, cannot make any decisions to the American people, cannot even speak to the American people without a teleprompter. This power that the Democrats want to yield against the American people, against churches, against families, against children, has to end. I'm very happy that the Supreme Court has stepped in on two major decisions that affects the American people. And I wish that they would step in and do something about the Constitution and enforcing the Constitution strongly against individuals who do not obey what the court says. I wish they would. Right now, the Democrats want to politicize the Supreme Court. They have politicized the lower courts by putting in people who are so far left that they should never even be in that job. I don't want to go on too long about this, because then I'm going to sound as though that I'm moaning and groaning, and I don't want to sound that way. I want to sound upbeat and uplifting and say, let's move forward and let's do something. Let's let our voices be heard. Let our vote be heard. And let's make some changes. Let's remove the individuals who are pushing these bad policies on the American people. And put somebody, not something. Because that's what we have right now, it's just a something. But we need a somebody that can lead, that can think first about the American people and not about the power of the office of president. We need a man or a woman for the people. Not what we have now, just a something. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. I hope everybody goes out and have a very good Saturday and a very good weekend. God bless everyone. God bless America. Bye-bye.